Welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please be seated and turn to page 2 in your liturgy book. Gata of atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 refuges. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion, may all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness in the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness in the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have a joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra, found on page 4 of your liturgy books. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajna Paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness, no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, hath no wisdom and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajnaparamita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajnaparamita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajnaparamita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajnaparamita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind, all that is, and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds, and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to all those suffering from cruelty, calamity, injustice, and war, to Olivia, Joe, Harold, Hazel, Soke, Roger, Debbie, and Mike. May they heal their ills. And to Marquise, Mike, Keeson, Cindy, and Donna at the time of their death, and those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. Grammar school teachers and any students can proceed to class. Everyone else, please prepare for zazen. now begin kinhin. All first and third rows from the center aisle, please turn to your right. Second and fourth, turn to your left at the sound of the clappers. We will now recite the Sangha Covenant found on page 8 of your liturgy book. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated. I'll sit comfortably so you can see the teacher. And in a moment, we'll recite the Gatha on opening the sutra, also found on page 8. Gatha on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to continue on with the Lankavatara Sutra Teachings. The Ango is concluded, but the Sutra has not yet had its full way with us. So we'll be, at least I will be spending, I think, I expect that every time I'm giving a talk, I'm just going to keep moving the Sutra forward. But before I do, I'd like to announce that Kensei will be the Shuso for this upcoming practice period in the fall. Good luck. Shuso is, it's a kind of a big deal. It's the term really is disciple, and it means senior student. It means it's a rite of passage. The primary marker is that this is the threshold upon which one is asked to participate in the teaching end of things. And my sincere, earnest hope is that a decade from now, I would love it if every year we had 2 new Shuso ready to go, and we had more and more voices expressing the Dharma authentically and sincerely. Realistically, these things don't happen on schedules. These things happen when they happen. Exactly when will the leaf fall from the tree? When it's good and ready, and not before. You know, Kensei is in residential training, so Kensei's here all the time, every day of session, and sincerely practicing. So, in a way, it's good proof of concept. You know, if you really dig in, things happen. And so this is one of the obvious ways. There aren't many obvious places in the Sangha where we really make it a deal out of moving from one stage to another. But this will be happening, so. Okay. So all that means to say, we'll see what the Ango's about. It has to be discerned in league with the Shuso, so we'll see. For the Sutra, we are at self-realization, I think the concluding, no, not quite, some more to go. So then said Mahamati to the Blessed One, "Pray, tell us, Blessed One, concerning the characteristics of deep attachments to existence and how we may become detached from them." Now, detached, okay, simply means wholesomely in relationship to, okay? When we speak of detachment, it's very easy to misread it and to, well, I'm just going to bypass everything. I'm going to not deal. I can't even with life. And if that's where your practice is taking you, you need a serious course correct. When people have been practicing the Dharma sincerely and well, they are more and more living their life, not less and less, more and more authentically in full contact with what is actually so. And so, well, let's be careful how we hear this word detachment. Right? What does it mean? No, the Buddha helps clear it up. The Blessed One replied, "Well, when one tries to understand the significance of things by means of words and discriminations, there follow immeasurably deep-seated attachments to existence." How do I become detached to existence? How do I come into right view? Well, if you come at it through words and ideas, you're not going to. When one tries to understand the significance of things, the meaning of things, the truth of life, by means of words and discriminations, picking and choosing, delineating mind, and then there follows immeasurably deep-seated attachments to existence. Say the words that are being spoken and heard. So why say them? How do you relate to words then? What's this sutra but a collection of words? The Buddha goes on, for instance, there are the deep-seated attachments to the signs of individuality. My likes, my dislikes, my identity. I'm this, I'm not that, I prefer this, not that. To causation, to the notion of existence, to the notion of non-existence, discriminations of birth, death, of doing and non-doing, to the habit of discrimination itself. In other words, you can get addicted to words. You can begin to attach to your own machinations about how to be free from attachment. It's tricky business, this stuff. Happens all the time. The sutra goes on to spell it out a little differently. He could probably see the confused look on Mahamati's face. Or if not Mahamati, maybe the rest of the community. So he said, all right, look, there are 3 attachments that are especially deep-seated in the minds of all who suffer. Greed, anger, and infatuation. Now the sutra here says infatuation, right? What it really is pointing to is infatuation with the self, right? Greed, taking in, anger, pushing away, and ignorance. Ignorance of the nature of self, the nature of reality. Here translated as infatuation, but infatuation with the self is what it's pointing to. Now these are based on lust, fear, and pride. And lust here, not simply meaning carnal or sexual, but just the obsessive drive to take in. I feel a lack, and I look at this external thing, whatever it is, and obsess over it. And I've got to get it. Right? Or fear, this is pushing away. This is the discriminating mind's no. This is not wisdom mind's no. This is discriminating mind's no. They're not the same no. There are multiple no's. And pride. Pride here, not simply, not some mundane understanding, but the sense of yourself as a self. The infatuation with me. Look at me. Or look at me. But still, infatuation with me. Back of these, behind them, the source of them, if you will, lies discrimination. That picking and choosing mind. And desire. And this discriminating mind and this desire mind are procreative. Meaning they create. That discriminating mind of words and ideas and discriminations generates. It's procreative, it's causal. And it's accompanied by excitement or repulsion. Avariciousness, it says. Love of comforts, desire for eternal life, and following is a succession of rebirths. We were speaking about this morning a little bit in the Lam Rim training. This discriminating, this word-based mind aspect that has at its root ideas and discriminations, the very fact of that generates causes and conditions for the re-arising of the sense of self. And again, unwholesome. Okay? Unwholesome sense of self. So it's kind of saying like the fact that I like the hot, humid weather, or I don't like the hot, humid weather, when the very thought comes in, oh, I like this or I don't like this, inside the mechanism of that thought is contained a generative force that goes unseen, goes unnoticed, unexamined, assumed, but that force itself causes this experience of continuation. And this rebirth can be understood literally as over multiple births, but it means also multiple instances of now. Now, 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 now. You can imagine a mirror that just completely reflects what is so, perfectly, impeccably, meticulously, but no attaching, no craving or repulsion, no story, simply pure presence. Forms rise, dissipate, and fall. Other forms rise, dissipate, and fall. All held in the same oneness. Some are pleasant, some are scary. And yet, there's this essential capacity of the awakened mind to be untethered while fully engaged. This is not saying just transcend the world and leave it all behind and go live in a cave. If you go to the cave, it's so that you can pay attention to your mind and then come back to the village, free. Of course, we don't need to literally go in caves. We have nice cushions. But when you sit, that's what's happening. That's what's supposed to be happening, a component of it. The succession of rebirths, existence, continuation of attachments. But if these attachments are broken off, then no sign of attachment nor of detachment will remain. So the way out is not arranging the external circumstances to be just so. Rather, it's being able to see the actual internal snare, the stickiness of things, and being able to be free of it, to let go. When the truth is clearly understood, then the net of attachment is cleared away. What does that look like? In a way, it ought to be utterly indistinguishable from ordinary mind. It looks very ordinary. And yet, there's a quality to the experience which is utterly different. You know yourself. You already know what it's like to meet a moment well. Whether it's pleasant or icky, in a way, has nothing to do with it. And yes, there's pleasant, and yes, there's ick, but there's meeting it impeccably. That has its own freedom. It's a freedom that cannot be taken from you. Circumstances are going to come and go, honey. That's what's going to happen. That's what's been happening. That's all that you'll ever know. Flux and flow and churn and change. What is it that does not change? What can you actually rely on? Your body? Your gig? depending upon and attaching itself to the triple combination, which is greed, anger, and delusion, or infatuation with self in this translation, which works in unison. In other words, these things happen together. The continuation of the mind system is incessant. Remember, the eightfold mind system that we're talking about here is that logical, linear, analytical mind, the sense minds, the ego mind of self, of me, and that storehouse consciousness, okay? And because of this, there's a deeply felt and continuous assertion of the self. And it's like this fever that you can't get out of. It's this constant, it's this ache to prove oneself to oneself somehow. If only this or that or the other. And no matter how many wondrous experiences we accrue, somehow not enough. Can you relate? And they're nice experiences. They're actual real accomplishments. And yet, we're not able to really even enjoy them because we're trying to make them something that they're not. I had occasion recently to say that I really do wish that every person would have an opportunity to be on the high seat, because then you would get it out of your head that would solve everything. that delusion would be cleanly wiped away. Because after all, we're done in so many minutes, and then what? Well, then your life is what? Your daily life is actually where this all lands. And I'm not saying it has to be all lovely, lovely all the time. It can't be. But it can be real. It can be earnest. It can be authentic. And it can be an expression of the awakened life. And it's still ordinary. When the triple combination that causes the unwholesome functioning of the mind system ceases to exist, there's a triple emancipation, and there is no further arising of any combination of suffering. When the existence and non-existence of the external world are recognized as rising from the mind itself, then the bodhisattva is prepared to enter the state of imagelessness, and therein to see into the emptiness which characterizes all discrimination and the deep-seated attachments that arise thereof. The state of imagelessness. The land beyond yin and yang, becoming immune to the weather, free within it, utterly devoid of effort or doing or purposefulness. Everything miraculously occurs. Therein they will see no signs of deep-rooted attachment nor detachment. You're even beyond detaching from stuff. There's no need to detach from what? But so long as these discriminations are cherished by the ignorant, then they go on attaching themselves to these discriminations. And like the silkworm, they go on spinning their thread of discrimination, enwrapping themselves and others. And they are charmed with their prison. I mean, some of us have been around a while, right? Long enough to have created identities in the world, some that were maybe functional for a hot minute, right? And it feels like, okay, I'm good, I count. I'm lifing now, it's working. And then 1, 2, 3, something, right? Even if nothing overt happens, it's not what you thought it was going to be now, is it? So at a certain point, it's like, wait a minute, am I just going to keep chasing these fantasies for the rest of my life until I'm dead? Hoping one of them will actually land? Many do. I advise you not to. The truth is, they're all perfect. They're all fine. You just have to see it correctly. Play the gig because that's an expression of your reality. Don't play the gig hoping that you'll count if you play well enough. Very different. When there are no signs of attachment, nor of detachment, not clinging or non-clinging, beyond clinging and non-clinging, then all things are seen as abiding in solitude. Solitude? All things abide in solitude, where there is no evolving of discrimination. Mahamati, you and all the bodhisattvas should have your abode be where you can see all things from the point of view of solitude. What is this solitude that the sutra is pointing us towards? Does this mean just like, enough with all the people, I'm done? I'm gonna not people anymore. And I'm gonna go live in the closet somewhere. No, that won't work either. Perhaps you've never tried it. Give it a go. You'll see. This is a kind of solitude that can be completely palpable to you in the middle of the busiest intersection on the planet. Surrounded by people. It's a sacred solitude. When you and other bodhisattvas understand well the distinction between attachment and detachment, clinging and non-clinging, then you will be in possession of the upaya, the skillful means to successfully avoid becoming attached to the words according to which one grasps meaning. This is kind of important to track. When you really understand attachment and non-attachment, we were just talking about being beyond attachment and non-attachment, there's solitude, this oneness. Now, to use words to get there, you have to understand attachment and non-attachment. And when you do, then you will be able to use words, and they'll be fine. They can be very helpful. They can be completely congruent and aligned with deep meaning, and they can actually be really helpful, as long as you don't get attached to them. You will have possession of the skillful means for avoiding becoming attached to words according to which one proceeds to grasp meanings. That's why Dharma talks can actually work. It's possible. It's a lot to do with what happens in training, learning how to see words for what they are and not be hooked by them, learning how to leap free and yet stay connected to. Free from the domination of words, you will be able to establish yourselves where there will be a turning about in the deepest seat of consciousness. by means of which you will attain self-realization of noble wisdom, and you will be able to enter into all the Buddha lands, and you will be welcome at all the sacred assemblies. This turning about is a matter of direct experience. It's called kensho. It means seeing into the nature of the self, having your Dharma eye open. And then you get goodies. Then you'll be stamped with the stamp of the powers. Here come the goodies. Self-command. Master yourself, be free. The psychic faculties, of course, those. What did you think? I mean, I have to say, though, in all honesty, there have been times with my teachers that it really did seem like there's some like spooky stuff going on, like their ability to just kind of just pull the right skewer out and go right where it needs to go. It can be a little startling at times. I've been startled. Being able to sense in a way that's hard to pin down, like what actually needs to happen. It's very interesting. Self-command, the psychic faculties, they'll be endowed with the wisdom and power of the 10 inexhaustible vows, and will become radiant with the variegated rays of the transformation bodies. That sounds fun. But don't be fooled. If I could sit here and go like this and start glowing weird colors and stuff, it doesn't mean anything. It's not about that. That would be interesting, maybe. But it doesn't mean anything in terms of awakening. Just because someone can levitate or walk on water or exude purple color or something, maybe that's worth some data collection, what's going on there. But in terms of what this is talking about, it's something else. This is radiating the Dharma. That actually matters. That other stuff, not so much. There within, you will shine without effort. Again, this effortlessness, like the moon, the sun, the magic wishing jewel. And at every stage, view things as being of perfect oneness with yourself, uncontaminated by any self-consciousness. So this is kind of important. See things, dharmas, as perfect oneness, Buddha. The multiplicity of expression as oneness without self-consciousness. Oh, I see it, I got it. So it's kind of funny. It's all one, and there's not one. Sometimes you see not one, not two. There's a way of pointing to it. Seeing that all things are like a dream, you'll be able to enter into the stage of the Tathagatas and be able to deliver discourses on the Dharma to the world of beings in accordance with their needs, and be able to free them from all dualistic notions and false discriminations. This happens over and over in the Sutra and the Mahayana, being able to meet the moment well and having the flexibility of mind to be able to arise in a form that can be of use. You know, my teacher has the ability to arise in many different forms. I've seen many, I'm sure not all, but always exactly what's needed. Not always pleasant, not always some facade, some social construct, not always what you expect a Zen person to be like, but always actually right to the moment. And then finally, there are two ways of considering self-realization: the teachings about it and the realization itself. This would be echoed by Bodhidharma himself, entering through principle, entering through practice. The teachings are variously given for the instructions of those who are inclined towards them, by making use of upaya and skillful means and expedient devices. And these are intended to awaken beings to a true perception of real Buddha Dharma. The teachings are designed to keep one away from dualistic notions. The teachings are designed to keep one free from the trap of teachings. Now, realization itself occurs within the innermost consciousness. It is an inner experience that has no connection with the lower mind system. This is very important. The lower mind system, you can have insights about things that can be very useful, but no amount of insight collection will ever equal Kensho. Seeing into the nature of the self is the business of prajna wisdom. Prajna wisdom realizes Buddha nature. And then what's realized is that the mind system is sweet. That's great. It's all Buddha nature anyway, it turns out. But to get to that freedom, you can't go in through that door. Not exclusively. It has no connection with the lower mind system and its discriminations of words, ideas, and speculations. It shines out with its own clear light to reveal the error and foolishness of mind-constructed teachings, to render impotent evil influences from without, and to guide one unerringly to the realm of good non-outflowings, of actualizing good in the world, of being a living embodiment of cosmic love, walking around saying, hey, when the earnest disciple and bodhisattva are provided with these requirements, the way is open to perfect attainment of self-realization of noble wisdom and to the full enjoyment of the fruits therein. I love that it ends with full enjoyment. The room's a little hot. It's a little humid in here. Enjoy it. Soon enough, it's going to be freezing out there. You know what you do then? Enjoy it. But before then, the leaves will fall. Enjoy them. Really enjoy your practice. This is not kid stuff. If you can actually enjoy your life in the churn, well, then get to the business of sharing it with others. For the sake of all beings throughout space and time, may we all realize the full enjoyment of love. For the sake of all, may it be so.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma Thank you all for being here today, and those of you joining us online. This concludes the streaming portion of the service.